I became a liquid millionaire at 19 years old, and my secret to success was being alone. And I know that sounds like super dark or super like sad, and trust me, it's not. And I'm going to kind of explain it. But in this video, I kind of want to talk about the biggest lessons that I've learned getting to where I'm at today, the day in, day out lessons, and kind of just like an update of where I'm at in life. It's been a while since I've done one of these raw sit down talking videos, and I think you could probably learn something from it if you're going up in your business journey. Maybe you're just starting. I can hand down some of the lessons that took me a lot of money to learn or a lot of time to learn. Because for those that know, I started this YouTube channel when I was 16 years old. On this channel, I had nothing to my name, no friends, no real direction in life. And one day I woke up and I said, you know what? I'm done with this. Like I have to switch things around. And ever since then, a lot has happened. Like reading the title of this video, like I mean that. Like I don't just throw these words around. I think a lot of people in this whole online space, they say there's something, a liquid millionaire. As someone myself who's met a lot of these big guys in the space, a lot of people my age, a lot of these big names you've probably seen online, pretty much most of these people are not who they say they are. Okay. And when I say secret to success is being alone is kind of the first big lesson for me, and kind of what I'm in this period of life I'm even in right now, is since I was 17 years old, I essentially moved out 3 months every single year to focus on what mattered for me and having intentional focus in my business and what I wanted in life. I think in life you have to have phases. And I think in years, it's good to have different phases. You have phases of really, really deep work. You have phases of kind of letting loose, phases of being with people, family, whatever. Okay, I think it's important. And I've kind of gone into this like isolation mode, monk mode, whatever you want to call it, where for 3 months out of the year, I would essentially move out, go to the mountains, and not speak with anyone except pretty much the front desk lady at the grocery store. That's the only point of contact I have. I don't see friends. I don't see family. No one. And that sounds very depressing. And that sounds kind of sad. But at the end of the day, it's a choice. I'm very, very intentional about that. I'm intentional about my time when I'm here. I got here like 3 to 4 weeks ago at this current place. Same thing I've done these past few years. And I get more done in these 3 months than most people get done in years. And the reason why is because I have nothing else to do but what I want to work on and what I want to focus on. And the big lesson here is like when you put yourself in some sort of environment, your environment is everything. Your environment will shape your future. And if you're in an environment where people are distracting you and you can't get things done, you're never going to succeed, or you're going to succeed at a rate way lower than someone like me who has nothing else to do but win in one area. I put restrictions on my phone screen time. I've got maybe 30 to 45 minutes a day screen time, pretty low the rest of the day. Walks, gym, or work. And that's what it is. Okay. Even my diet, I'm very controlled on what comes in and out of my body because I buy only things that are going to help me inside this period. So all this being said, you have to be very, very intentional, and sacrifice is needed to see success. Like I was saying, I say that this whole millionaire thing, not to brag, but I think it's an accomplishment. It's something I kind of want to document on here, right? Like I actually really did do that. And you can see the whole thing. You can see the entire thing live. I documented every single step along the way. And like I was saying at the start of this video, everyone throws this millionaire word around. Like I've met pretty much I've not met any really, maybe one or two post-tax millionaires self-made as a teenager. There's very, very few. Most people that do, it's crypto. I didn't make any money through crypto. I made some money through crypto, maybe 50 grand, maybe max. I didn't make that much money. And kind of the last point on this, isolation mode and something I recommend is do this for yourself. Set aside 1 to 2 to 3 months max. 3 months beyond that is it's unhealthy. Set aside time to really focus on what matters for you in your life. And you're going to see a drastic change, not only in your physicality, your mental, but also probably your business. If you have a business, most people that watch my channel probably run a business. I think all these things are extremely important. And kind of, the whole thing around like all these people throwing around these words, a big reason I'm not in a place like Miami. I get asked all the time, why don't you live in Miami? Why don't you live in these places? Like at the end of the day, I kind of despise, I kind of hate these people in my industry. I know hate's like a super strong word, but like despise. I despise a lot of the people in my industry. Like I said, most of them are people who say they're something, but they're not. They're liars. They're trying to use other people. And there's a reason I've been to no networking events. My only networking event I've ever been to was my own. And it was my own I hosted with people that I've been helping for a long, long time. And I got to see all of them in person. There was many people that flew out. It was a great experience. Other than that, I've never been to a networking event. While that might hurt me, I think it helps me a ton because I'm not getting clouded and my judgment being clouded by people who have just bad intentions. And not that everyone has bad intentions, but I don't even want to be associated with a lot of these people in this whole online space. A lot of them are pretty nasty people to say the least. And I've met a lot of them, just online and whatnot. And it's a pretty obvious thing. And that's just my preference. I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm not saying you have to think this way, but that's just for me, my preference. And I grew up in a place like Seattle. If anyone knows Seattle, it's very, very old money, a lot of tech money as well. People you could be next to a billionaire on the side of the street or someone worth multi-nine figures and they look like they're homeless. There's no Lamborghinis, there's none of that, but there's big exits and they're big investment accounts and lots of real estate. Like that's these type of people. They don't really care. Like they do care about the perception of others, but like not to the extent like you have to shove it in front of people's face. And for me, like setting goals was a big thing for me in these kind of isolation period modes, right? Last year I was doing this exact same thing and I was 18 years old. And the goal for myself was if I went through the whole 90 days of my kind of isolation mode and I was successful and I did what I needed to do, I'd buy this watch. And most people wouldn't even know what this watch is. I bought it at the time for about $60,000. It's worth about $70,000 now. And that's just the style, like I say the number cause that's the wow factor. But other than that, you wouldn't know what this is. Okay. And that's just because I like it. So, and I have a much bigger goal this year. So, before I turned 20 in middle of May. So start of May, is kind of the end of this sort of isolation monk mode phase and, I'll reward myself. But long story short, isolation, intentionality, and really being with yourself is important. I think if you can't be content in yourself, you're going to be at a huge disadvantage to those that are. And in business, it's PvP. It's player versus player. Like it's pretty cutthroat. I've learned that a lot in the past year. A lot of people will do anything to win and even throw aside whatever it is, that might be stopping them from winning. They don't care. They will do what they can to win. It's ruthless. And if you want to win and you want to win being the good guy, and sometimes you can't, but you have to have all your cards in your favor. And this has been a big thing for me, is just really kind of being in these phases of life. And the next kind of big lesson is being smart with money. Like, I know I just mentioned a $60,000 watch, but besides that, like I haven't even lost money on this. I've made money on it. But I'm very smart with money. I don't have any sort of expensive car. I don't have anything, for those that know, I was kind of in that phase. I was in a penthouse in Austin, Texas for a couple months. And kind of the update on that was, I like Austin, my business partner's down there, and I'm going to go to Austin a ton. But we were paying $12,000 a month, okay, for a penthouse in Austin, Texas. And at a certain point, I looked at everything and I'm like, what am I doing? I got totally consumed into this life that other people designed that is like a really, this is the dream life, all this, all that. And I realized I'm like, what am I doing? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm not paying this amount of money. Like, have some value for the dollar. And I think if you don't come from all this crazy family money that just gives you all this stuff, you have a value of the dollar. You worked a job. For me, I worked at golf courses. Okay. I'd make $10, $15 an hour, breaking my back, picking up golf balls at the golf range. Imagine there's like a big golf range. There'd be, people that hit those golf balls all day on this range. There's thousands of golf balls. At the end of the day, I'd have to go out there myself manually. Every single ball, I'd have to grab it. And that treats you like for $10 an hour, like I'd go home and my back would just be completely like, I just couldn't even like walk the next day. I was so sore. So all this being said is like when you work and you really, really figure out the value of the dollar, you are more conscious about the stupid, dumb money. And I think that money's important. I think you should kind of spend and blow a portion of your income just to literally get it out of your system. But for me, I realized I'm like, what am I doing? I could be spending this money so much better. And for those that know kind of how I spend my money, I would say I'm very, very logical and smart. I have a lot of investments. I have a pretty big stock portfolio. And that for me was just like, I set a certain amount aside, I dollar cost average every single week. I buy a certain amount and that money comes out of my account. Literally, it's non-negotiable. So I can't like go out, and that kind of prevents me from ever being done with it. But long story short, I'm pretty smart with my money, I think it's like a big thing that people actually kind of suck at. And if they were better at it, they'd be worth so much more. And this is kind of like financials 101. So it's probably no surprise to you. But yeah, just being smart. Cause I think the second you get money, especially when you're young, you're very eager to go spend it. I could have had multiple cars by now, crazy amount of stuff. But at the end of the day, I chose to do what I'm currently doing with my money. And I think it's going to benefit way, way longer term. Like I will essentially be able to just blow past everyone else and lap everyone else multiple times over because of how I was kind of using my money. And I know that's like sounds super annoying, but like, I don't know. That's kind of the way I see it. And then kind of like one of the last things I want to talk about in this video is I think over the past year, I've really realized money doesn't buy happiness. And I know that everyone, all these billionaires say that, money doesn't buy happiness, money doesn't. I think, I don't know who said, there's someone that said it, but like you have the right to, you can say that if you actually have money, okay? Like money doesn't buy happiness. You can't say that if you're broke, because every single day you're waking up and you're literally for the next trajectory is the next 30 years of working the same job you work now for money. So it's like, it obviously has something to do on your health and your happiness. But like once you're at a point where you have some money, you really understand there's more to the world than money. And I know that sounds like such a shallow, stupid saying or just like a stupid thought, but it really came to me recently. I'm like, what am I going to do with this? Like, is it experiences? Is it, what is it? Like, what do I want to actually do with this? For me, business and money, it's all a game. I love it. Like I said, like I grew up playing video games. I treat this stuff like a game. I really do think it's just leveling up your character. And for me, that's how I treat it. But at a certain point, you kind of have to figure out what's the meaning behind what you do. And I think that's something that's really, really hard that I even question still today. Because you have to have a bigger why than just money. And really, if you want to have a big impact on this world, I think you have to realize that sooner, and then you can actually get that stuff out of your system, the dumb stuff, whatever, and really focus on big goals and a big vision that you have going forward. So yeah, it's kind of like a phase I'm still going through transparently right now. I don't know what to do. I've spoken with people. I'm very, very disciplined as a person, but at a certain point it's like, okay, now what? Like, cool. Next revenue number hit, next benchmark hit, goal hit, then what? And it's like, it's this never ending loop of always wanting more. You hit $3,000 a month, you want $5,000 a month. You hit $5,000 a month, you want $10,000 a month. You hit $10,000 a month, you want $50K a month. $50K a month, you want to hit $100K a month. $100K a month, you want more. Okay. This never stops. It doesn't matter what you say. Humans are wired that way. And especially myself. So all this being said, really understand that money doesn't buy happiness, but understanding that the work almost to get here was almost happiness for me. But there's more domains and other things in life that I need to get good at. Like I've maxed out this one area, but there's other areas that I need to get good at that I just have put no attention or focus to. And that's something I have to think about. That's something kind of I have to really look at this year. The last thing I'm going to say here inside this video as an update is don't quit. I know it's like the age-old long saying of everyone saying don't quit, but I've genuinely seen people come in and out of this industry, starting businesses, thinking, they have this motivation of being an entrepreneur for a couple weeks, goes by a couple months, whatever, they're gone. The only reason I'm at where I'm at today is because not only extreme discipline, hard work, and luck is a huge thing, but also just because I showed up every day and I never quit. It was very easy for me to quit at 16 years old, having no money made on month 5, month 6 of running a business, pouring every hour I could into it, and not having even a sales call to show for it, let alone a client. I didn't have a sales call. And that for me was mentally really hard. But at the end of the day, I realized there was no other alternative. Like, okay, I have this, or I go to college, and then what? Okay. Like, look at the college market today. Look at the job market today. Look where things are headed. Is that even a safe path? Like there's actually more risk in not taking risk. Does that make sense? Like if you don't take risk today, that is a more risky path than if you just took the risk now. And I realized that early on, and I understood there was no other alternative because job market, great. You do well, you make 150, 200 grand a year, max coming out of college. What do you after taxes and expenses? You're broke. You're broke for years. And even with you being smart with money, you're so constrained, you're in a rat race. That's why they call it a rat race. And I realized that early on. So don't quit. If you have ambitions and you have things and you're really about it, don't quit. Because you will see the light at the end of the tunnel. But the problem is most people don't stick around to see that light. They quit before they even can get to the tunnel. And that's just the reality of it. So yeah, guys, hopefully this video was maybe lessons, maybe things you learned. Every day I always say, like, I'm just starting. Like I'm at the end of the day, I am really this is the start of my journey. I'm 19 years old. I've got a lot more years to go in business and to show kind of like what I know and how I can help people and really what I have done. And I think it's very unique that you can go look back on my entire story and watch it and see when I had no money and see where I'm at now. And the only way is up. The only thing you guys are going to see from me is more value, more documentation. I want to make more of these videos and kind of just like where I'm at. Like, you know, these next 4 or 5-ish weeks, I'm going to be kind of still in this like really, really intense mode of focus, you know, in this kind of monk mode phase. But after that, you know, I'll kind of, I'll have a pretty big purchase. You guys will see here on the channel. I'm not going to spoil it, but I think I have my eyes set on something, and that's kind of my reward if I execute here well. And after that, I'll have to see. I'll have to really see what I want to do and what, you know, I guess God is calling me to do going forward. I really want to give back in some way. That's something I put down on my 2026 goals video. I want to do some sort of charity, some sort of doing something beyond just like, okay, sending a wire to a charity or whatever. Like, I really want to do something that I can see it. And I think there's so many people in this world that don't even have the opportunity to have an online business or have any sort of like, I guess, knowledge to do all the things that I've done over these past few years. And however I can help those people, I want to. And that's a goal of mine. You know, I'm very, very mentally exhausted for running 2 different businesses, which I do is like an agency and also a big mastermind group of over 200 people actively learning and starting their own agencies. But it's all worth it. At the end of the day, I know I'm helping and impacting enough people to where I get comments every day on this YouTube channel of you guys telling me you guys love the videos, you guys closed your first client, the 10-hour course helped you guys a ton. That's the stuff where I wake up every day and I know I'm doing the right thing, you know? And I think there's also more levels to that of helping out people who don't even have that opportunity. And that's what I want to also do this year. So guys, that being said, I know this is very raw, kind of just me talking off the top of my head video, but hopefully you learned something from it. You know, don't feel behind either. It's very easy to feel behind looking at someone like me because I always used to look at people like people who've just made money or whatever. But understand, you guys are probably ahead of me in a lot of areas as well. I've neglected many areas, you know, relationships, experiences, all these types of things because I've been in the pursuit of one thing, or I guess 2 things, you know, health and business. And I think you have to understand that there's more to life than that. But if you can balance all those and you can like do them all simultaneously without going too far one way, because balance really is not a thing, but like just get myself more involved in all of it, that's where like you kind of max out your character. And that's the goal for me. So yeah, you guys are watching this journey live. I hope you guys learned a thing or two. Feel free to comment. I always reply to all my comments. And yeah, guys, hope you guys are doing well. And I will see you guys inside my next video. Peace.